Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the lineup. I'm your host, Rick Goff, joined by my co-host here, Aaron Smith, and the best producer in the game, Brandon Whitley. As we get into a bunch of different topics tonight, with conclusion coming up with the top plays of March. We had a ton of submissions, Aaron, for our top plays of March. We had probably over 50 submissions for that.
Yeah.
And it was dominated by the girls softball side.
Really?
Oh man, I bet you we got 3-1 submissions from the girls softball side than we did from the boys baseball side. So the baseball side needs to pick it up.
I know. That's awesome.
So we've got 10 great plays for March coming to you at the end of the show. And while I'm thinking of it, we are already taking top plays for the month of April.
Awesome.
We've got 3 or 4 top plays already for the month of April. So get those into us. They will be due by the end of April, and you can submit those by email, getting them to us at the lineup at athletics.com, and we will display those in early May for the top plays of April.
Yep.
So excited about that. Let's start off the show as we do always with a recap from the previous week, or previous weeks in this case. We've got a couple of teams we want to recognize in the recap. One of them is SBA Marucci 12U. They went 6-0 this past weekend, outscoring their opponents 57-8.
Jesus. They put it on them.
8 runs.
8 runs.
That's not a lot of runs
That's
over
all they
6
give 'em.
games.
Hey, 57. That's pretty incredible as well.
So in that, how upset do you think the coach is when they give up a run?
I think he's a little bit more upset than most other coaches. But heck, if you're putting up 57 in a weekend, I don't think you mind too much.
It's probably one of those things where he has to find something
He's got to find something
He's gotta
to
find
pick,
something.
and it's, I guess, work on the pitching.
Right.
I guess that's what it's
We
about.
created a couple of errors that led to a couple of runs that we should have gave up.
Yeah, but when you put up 12 a game, or roughly to it, oh my, you're fine. Go hit it.
What does he tell his team after that? We should only give up 6 runs?
I guess so. With it being this early in the year, though, I think that coach is thinking, all right, these kids can swing it. I think we're good. I think we're good.
Well, another team we'd like to recognize out of the same stable as the SBA Nationals, they went 6-0 on the weekend as well and had to win 4 games on Sunday. This is the 11-year-old team.
Whew.
They had to win 4 games on Sunday to bring home the title.
4 games on Sunday's a lot.
That's a lot.
The most I ever did, I did 5 in one day, and I think I was 11 or 12. Nah, we'll never do it again. That was hard.
That's tough. You know, it seems like they maybe should change the format a little bit to keep from playing 4 games in a day.
Yeah.
But anyway, congratulations to those 2 teams who had great weekends. SBA Marucci 12U and the SBA Nationals 11U in winning their championships. So congratulations to those guys. All right, we're going to get into our first segment, and we're going to talk about some of the top bats that you find at the youth ballparks.
Yeah.
During the 2022 season, we polled some random coaches this past week or two to kind of get their input on what they thought some of the top bats were. And surprisingly enough, it's pretty unanimous across the board on what the best legal bats. I gotta throw that in there.
Legal.
Best legal bats are to use for the 2022 season. And topping out the list, some bats. Let me give you some bats that got some votes early on that wasn't as popular.
Yeah.
But the Easton Ghost got a couple of votes. The Drop 5 Easton Ghost.
Yeah.
The Easton ADV got some votes, and the Zoa.
Yep.
DeMarini Zoa got some votes. But that wasn't the most popular ones. Do you have a guess on what the most popular ones will be?
Knowing the bat market nowadays and knowing what I grew up with and probably what you grew up with too, it's going to be something from Louisville Slugger.
Well, you would be right.
Very good.
You'd be right. You'd be right. So the bat that got the 3rd most votes, coming at number 3, was the Cat 9.
Cat 9. It's an awesome bat.
Yep.
You know, when we're down doing tournaments, it's one of the favorites, not just because of the way it performs, but kids love the design. Kids love that red, white, and blue design on it, and I don't blame them. It's an awesome bat.
When you picked out a bat when you were a kid, did you worry about the make or the brand, or was you just more about, did it feel good in my hand?
I was a little bit of both. So obviously, growing up in Louisville, I was very partial to Louisville Slugger. Grew up with it, tried my backyard. So growing up, I always wanted something that was Louisville Slugger, right? From there, it didn't really matter as far as what they made per se. The brand was first and foremost to me, and then from there, just kind of whatever was hot and everybody was using.
But do you think today it matters? I mean, with social media and with these kids being able to talk to one another across the country,
Mm-hmm.
do you think there's some kids out there that maybe swing the Cat 9 because that's what everybody else is swinging?
Yeah.
So then I got to swing it.
Well,
Even though it doesn't feel good, I've
Yeah.
got to swing it.
See, and I think a lot of that is changed because when I was growing up, private lessons or indoor hitting places, that wasn't very prominent. Nowadays, these kids go to
It's big
indoor
now.
stuff 2-3 times a week, and they're constantly swinging. And if it's something that doesn't feel good to them, they're going to pick it up like that. Whereas me, I swung it and I got used to it over the course of a couple months. But these kids know immediately what works and what doesn't.
All right, let me ask you this question. Would you rather look good or look cool,
Mm-hmm.
swing the Cat 9
Mm-hmm.
and hit 300,
Mm-hmm.
or pick up a broomstick and hit 350?
Personally, I'm a broomstick guy. I'd rather pick it up and perform well. But part of the game is, if you feel good, you play good. If you play good, hey, you better look good too. So I think it's a little bit of both. But me personally, I'd swing just about anything to get a hit.
Yeah, I mean, when I was coaching back with my time that I was doing, I heard a lot of the kids, and again, this was back in the 2010, 2011
Mm-hmm.
time frame. You're talking about 10 years ago. And, they would talk about, the Cat 9, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Coach? I'm
It
0
does.
for 10 with the Cat 9.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be one of the best bats on the market, but I'm 0 for 10. So I'm going to
Mhm.
go over and swing this broomstick.
Yeah.
And I'm 7 for 10.
There you go.
And I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I just wonder in today's society, if kids feel pressure, like, well, you got to be something wrong with me.
I think I think a lot of it is.
I'm 0 for 10 with the Cat 9,
Yeah.
but I'm going to keep on swinging it
Yeah.
because I don't want to be made fun of for
Yeah.
swinging a broomstick.
Well, I think there's two things to that. Number one, I think parents and really the coach need to have an idea of what works well for that particular kid, right? So you go to, let's say, a Dick's Sporting Goods right now. Like a year or two ago, they opened up the little batting cage. You can go in there and swing some of the demo bats.
Mhm.
I think that's a great thing to do. Get it in their hands early, see if they like it. I think the second thing, and for kids that typically get a new bat every 2 to 3 years, their parents go out and spend $350 on a bat, and they say they don't like it. Well, mom and dad can't necessarily go return that bat.
You're going to swing it regardless.
You're going to swing it, and you're going to like it.
You're
So,
going to like it.
I think a lot of it has to do with that as well. Parents only buying a bat every 2 or 3 years. Well, we're going to get the best on the market, so that way we don't have to go out and buy a bat next year. And so I think a lot of it is, again, getting it in the kids' hands early. Let them, demo it. Let them do this and that, and go from there.
Here's I found an interesting comment from one of the coaches I talked to out of Michigan, and he said for the teams in the Midwest, Upper Midwest, Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, those types of teams, that the Cat Series was
Mhm.
actually a better bat for them than the 2 bats that we have ahead of the Cat 9.
Mhm.
And he said it was all due to the weather.
Yep.
The colder weather.
100%, I believe.
The other bats that we have in the lineup don't hold up in that
Mm-hmm.
40-degree weather and maybe
Yep. They crack,
snow.
they
They crack and,
Yeah.
and everything else, and you're throwing away that $350.
Exactly. And I mean,
Um,
you see the same thing, even, at the major league level as well. If you're up in Toronto, well, chances are you're probably swinging a little bit different of a bat, whether it be the make or the size or what it's made from, versus if you're down in Florida and Miami, the ball carries differently. So you're looking to do different things with it. So MLB is not as obviously it's not as prominent, but once you get like single, double A, I mean, those dudes are swinging to get to the next level. So they want something that, whether you go to Billings, Montana, or Austin, Texas, they want something that can perform in both places.
What's some of the things that you did to your bat? You got a brand new bat. Let's say you opened it up, got it out of the wrapper. What's some of the things you did to your bat to make it fit
Yeah.
Aaron Smith?
First thing was new grip.
New grip.
Off top, new grip.
So you took the old grip off.
Yep.
And-
Put a new
And you put a new grip on.
new grip.
All right.
Second thing, pine tar. Love the pine tar. Covered that on my bat as high as I could possibly go.
Well, we can ask George Brett how high that actually is, which is legal.
Yes, we can. But it was pretty much. I mean, it was a grip. It was pine tar, and it was getting the cage and swinging.
Did you allow other kids on your team to use your bat?
Some I did, some I didn't. It all depended on
what was the reasoning behind that. What qualified somebody to or disqualified somebody from not?
Well, if little Johnny likes to throw him a baseball bat when he strikes out, you can't use it again. That was the biggest thing.
But what if Aaron Smith strikes out and throws it?
Well, then, because Aaron Smith's parents bought it, which is fine. But if little Johnny's parents didn't buy it, don't throw it. That was the biggest thing. Was kids that obviously weren't extreme hotheads. They could use it. I didn't care. But yeah, if you throw it, you can't have it.
I've seen both situations at tournaments that I run where a kid is protective of his bat, and chances are it's because mom and dad said, you know what,
hey,
I just spent $350 on that bat. You're not nobody uses it but you.
Yeah.
That puts Johnny in a tough spot, don't it?
It does.
I mean,
yeah.
The other kid maybe picked it up and swung in the cage and like, oh my God, this feels really good.
Yeah.
I want to swing your bat.
Mm-hmm.
I can't let you. My mom and dad won't let me.
I'm sorry. Yeah, take it up with your parents. Have your parents.
I know that but I understand that.
Yeah, but
that puts
at the end of the day, yes,
it puts a 12-year-old or an 11-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 9-year-old. It puts them in a tough spot.
Yeah, it definitely does. But at the end of the day,
because then let's take that a step further.
Uh-huh.
The parents are best friends with another kid on the team.
Yeah.
Right.
And they let him use it.
Timmy can use it.
Yeah, but Johnny can't.
But Johnny can't.
Yeah, I mean, so
that puts everybody in a tough spot.
To put that on a 12-year-old kid is a little bit tough. I mean, if that were the case for me and somebody says, "Hey, can I swing your bat?" No, well, he gets to swing it. Yeah, but that's something that was.
What's the life expectancy of these bats today?
Today, I mean, I would probably say max 2-3 years, maybe.
Max, right? Probably max is 2.
Yeah.
Probably don't even last that long.
Yeah.
And it's also going to depend on how many people are using it, right?
Exactly.
So if you've got the whole team using one bat, it's not going to last that long.
It's not going to last long at all.
And I think that has a lot to do with what the parents say too. Hey, they can't use it.
Yeah.
Because mom and dad don't want to spend $350 every year.
Exactly. And I think that
every 2 years is still steep.
Too, what I see a lot of teams do is they get team bats. So they'll have 3 or 4 team bats that they have in rotation, different sizes.
Parents chip in, and that avoids that problem, right?
And
that avoids it.
And they do it every single year, and that's what you get. It's kind of like college baseball when you get.
But then you get that family. You get that family that struggles financially.
Yep.
And they're like, you know what, man, we're paying $1,000 to be on this team. We're not throwing in another $50 to buy a team bat. You know what? We've got our own. We're good with it.
Yeah. And I think at that
3 games into the season,
then it breaks.
Not only does it break, but he decides
he likes that team.
He likes that team bat.
Yeah.
And then he starts using the team bat. So now, as a coach, do you have to make that stance like, hey, your parents didn't throw in, so you're not using this bat?
I think that if that were to be the case as a coach, you have to. I mean, you got to get with the parent. You can't tell a kid that he can't swing a bat because mom and dad couldn't afford it.
There's always angles, right?
You got to go. You got to go to the parent.
Yeah. And youth baseball is driven by money.
Exactly.
And there's angles to everything.
Yep.
Let's move on to number 2 on our countdown of our bats. And what came in at number 2 was Meta.
Yep.
That came in at number 2.
Louisville Slugger, in my opinion, has made some of the best baseball bats throughout the entire life cycle.
It's kind of their job, isn't it?
It is.
It's kind of their job.
Mm-hmm. They make the best, and 9 times out of 10, when I was at the bats, a lot of those guys were swinging Louisville Slugger bats. And granted, they had endorsement deals and they got certain deals.
I was going to say at that level,
but guys absolutely love swinging Louisville Slugger. Where you see it in college baseball, you see it in Little League, you see it in MLB. They love Louisville Slugger baseball.
But don't you see the young kids of today? They want to emulate those guys.
Exactly.
So if my college hero or swung the Louisville, the Meta or the Cat, that's what I want to swing.
That's what I want to swing.
I want to swing that. I just saw him hit home runs with it. Well, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to hit home runs.
Growing up, watching Ken Griffey Jr. swing the all-black Louisville Slugger from the left side, you wanted that bat as a kid if you were left-handed.
We've said on the show many times that is the sweetest swing in all of baseball.
Oh, superb!
It's the best swing
between Ken Griffey Jr. Barry Bonds is a heck of a swing. Absolutely love Barry Bonds' swing, and Tony Gwynn.
I'll give you Tony Gwynn.
It really Ichiro as well.
I'll give you Tony Gwynn. Ichiro's is different though.
It's different.
It's like a slap. It's almost like a girl's softball swing.
Yeah, but I mean, what?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd classify that as pretty. I might classify it as effective. I don't know if I'd classify it as pretty.
I think he's got 46 or 4,700 hits between MLB and the Japanese league he played in.
I'm not arguing effective.
I know.
I'm just saying pretty.
Yeah.
Ken Griffey to me is the prettiest swing in all of baseball, and I defy anybody to come up with one that's prettier.
Barry Bonds is close.
Not even close.
Barry Lamar Bonds is close.
He's not even in the same state. Not even zip code. It's not
Barry Bonds is close.
The number one bat that got the most votes in my unofficial official poll.
Yeah.
The CF Zen, DeMarini.
Nah, that's no surprise.
Yeah. I mean, that just seems to be...
DeMarini did something completely different back in 2017, and they've carried that CF hype throughout today.
They have. And they, in my opinion, DeMarini pushes the limits on what's legal
and illegal
and what's not legal.
Yeah.
And there's a fine line there, and DeMarini walks that line
They do.
year in and year out. They crossed the line in 17.
Yes, they did.
You know, with the bats, and most organizations in the country have disallowed the green Zen.
The green 2017
Yeah.
CF Zen drop 8 and drop 10.
Drop 8, drop 10.
I know
right.
it like the back of my hand, but
Some of them have outlawed the drop 5.
Mhm.
I didn't do it at TBS. I didn't outlaw the drop 5.
yeah,
But most, I won't say most. There's a few organizations that outlawed the drop 5.
we in the Youth World Series we did not outlaw the drop 5. It's
You let it still go.
Yep, it's just
But the
the
8 and
drop
10s are outlawed, right?
They're outlawed. We even went as far as to say the retooled ones.
Oh, great point.
We won't allow the retooled.
I
ones.
outlawed the retooled ones as well.
Yeah.
I
don't think
just too many things going on.
Yeah.
People trying to be smarter than
Exactly.
everybody else, and
Exactly,
we'll just
but-
get rid of it all.
So, 2 of the top 3 bats were Louisville Slugger and DeMarini, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know they're ran by the same company? The same overarching company owns Wilson, DeMarini.
Oh, the management company.
The management company.
Overall.
Wilson, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger is all owned by Amir Sports. See anything there? You see anything happening there? 2 out of the 3.
They want you to think it's something, but it's something different, but it's the same.
I know.
It's the same. But I can tell you this, that 2017 Zen, if you can find them online, they're going for upwards of $1,500.
Yeah.
I know you go to Cooperstown, you can swing whatever you want.
I mean, if you're, I can't justify $1,500 for a baseball bat.
I can't either.
I can't. I couldn't justify 1,000. I couldn't justify 700.
Well, okay, so what's your line?
For a youth baseball bat that I know I'm going to get 2 years out of, $350 is my top.
Yeah, most of these bats go for that.
That
$350, $400, $450,
Yeah.
Maybe $500
And-
range. They go
and-
for that price range.
Little Johnny can't let anybody else swing it for at least a year.
So if you had a son
Mm-hmm.
on a travel team,
Yep.
you would invest in the $350 bat,
I would, but only he gets to
and he only gets to swing it.
Yeah, only him. Sorry.
He's not going to be popular on the team, is he?
No.
But you don't care.
Nope. I don't care.
What about back when you were playing?
Mm-hmm.
What was the bat of choice that you had back then?
The EXO. The Louisville Slugger EXO.
The
green.
EXO.
The red with the yellow.
The red and yellow one.
Red and yellow.
The red and yellow one,
Yep.
EXO.
Yep.
That was a very popular bat
Mhm.
with everybody back then. Do you remember roughly off the top of your head what those bats run new?
New. I mean, back then they were probably a couple $100. Now they're $1,400 and $1,500 on eBay.
If you can find them.
If you can find
If
them,
you
because
can
they're the old BSR.
Yeah.
Good luck
yeah.
finding those bats when. So I don't know if they still do it or not, but college baseball used to do a home run derby, and they were allowed to swing the old BSR bats. And oh my lord, I mean they were going 450 feet out of Rosenblatt.
I watched a College World Series one time when the Beezer bats were it, and I watched a check swing home run.
Yeah, I mean
A
it
check
was,
swing.
it was easy.
Check
Mhm.
swing home run.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the term, as I coached, one of my complaints, one of my favorite lines that I would use with an umpire when a kid would check a swing
Mm-hmm.
and he called it no swing.
Mhm.
One of my favorite lines was, Blue, if he would have made contact with
It's
that,
gone.
it went over the fence. And I got more umpires to laugh at me over
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
than than anything. And a couple of them would be say, hey, don't question my strike call.
Yeah.
And then I would tell them after the game, I'd pull them aside and I go, hey, you realize what I said, right? I mean, I was just kind of making light of the situation.
Yeah, just making
I'm just making light of it. Some of the umpires got it.
Yeah.
Some of them didn't.
Yeah.
But that was my favorite line. One of my favorite lines. I had many. One of the ones I used with an umpire was like, if you make contact, that was going to go over the fence. And that all come from the College World Series where the kid actually check swing. I think it was from the University of Miami, if my memory serves me correct. But that's what happened. He hit a check swing home run. So it was at that point they realized they had to do something with the bats.
Well, that and you would have the, I don't know what they call it now, but the butcher boy, pull around a bunt, pull back, and I mean, you had instances where kids were getting hit and dying.
Yeah, we don't allow it in TBS. That's illegal. It's banned.
I mean, and
it should be banned in all youth.
It should be.
It should be banned in all youth. I don't care who it is. You should not allow the fake bunts in youth baseball.
Exactly. I think it's too dangerous. But kids, in college baseball, they were doing that and kids were dying.
Yeah.
They were getting hit and it was not good. So do I like the move? I do now, but in the early years, I hated it.
Well, let me tell you from my playing days. The popular bat in my playing days, and I'm sure a lot of guys that are out there that are pushing my age will tell you, it was the Green Easton. 100%. And I remember my dad bought me one. I was in 9th grade, brand new, out of the wrapper from the local sporting goods store.
Whew. What did it run you?
$35.
Hoo-wee.
And you'd have thought my dad bought a Lamborghini.
Yeah. And there's something about
because I had those same rules.
Yeah, there's something.
Nobody else is allowed to swing it.
There's something about cult followings in some of these older bats. Green Easton is a big cult following. So much so that Eastern remade one.
The bat, yes.
They remade
it
into a BB core. The Green Easton. I'm waiting for Louisville Slugger to make a BB core XO.
So, to go through the course of time, mine was $35, and that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Back when I was playing. You moved on. Now it's a couple $100s. Now these bats are $350 and up, depending on what you want to do with them and swing them.
Yeah.
And again, we're talking about legal bats.
Yeah.
And I am shocked. I shouldn't be, but I am. I am shocked at the dads that will go that extra mile to make even these bats that are popular even better. And they shave them and they roll them and they do all these things.
Yep.
And it's just appalling to me that these guys will do that all because they want their 10-year-old son
to hit a home run.
And to have an advantage.
Yeah.
And man, if I ever catch anybody, I mean, there's always assumptions thrown around at every tournament. That bat's shaved, that bat's rolled.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, tournament directors don't have the resources to test those bats and to do that, short of cutting them open right on the spot.
Yeah, I've never seen it done. I've never heard of someone just cutting open a bat to see what it looks like. But
I've heard it happen one time.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think about wood bats in youth sports?
I've ran wood bat tournaments in the past.
Yeah.
Some have been successful, some have not been successful. And you bring up a good question. Youth kids want to have fun playing the game.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And if they're not having fun, they're not going to play.
Yep.
And wood bats take away some of that fun.
They do.
Other than the novelty for it. So if you just have one tournament, hey, this is a wood bat tournament, this is what we're going to play in, that's a novelty.
Yeah.
But if you put wood bat in the hand of a 9 and 10-year-old,
they're not going to know.
It's like a BB core.
Yeah. So
they're not going to get that many hits with it. They're not going to have that much fun. And not going to be successful.
No, 100%. Do you think that, because more and more what I see is that a lot of kids will warm up with wood bats.
Oh, they do.
Get in the cage with wood bats. They'll go to their stuff and hit wood bats. Do you think that's a good thing, or do you think they should stick with their bat, swing it constantly, get a feel for it, do it that way, and then once you get to high school and beyond, then start mixing the wood bat?
My son is 28 years old now, and ever since he was 9, I had him hit in a cage with a wood bat. I had him swing wood bat and warm up.
Yeah.
It served two purposes, right? We talked about it earlier. A bat, your game bat only has so much life.
It does.
So why are you wasting that life in the cage and in warm-ups,
True.
right? I don't think you should. Some coaches are different. Hey, that's what that feel, we want to keep that feel.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't my philosophy with my teams. I made them swing a wood bat. I didn't make them,
Yeah.
but I
You
encouraged it.
You
I encouraged it. Swing a wood bat.
Yeah.
Because as you get older,
you're going to be asked more and more to swing.
you're going to be
like
asked
that.
more and more to swing it. That way, when you get to high school or you get 14 or 15 and you start playing more wood bats, it's not a culture shock to you.
Yeah. I totally
You
agree.
got some reps with it. You understand the feel, the vibration, all of that. I mean, there's nothing more
there's nothing more painful
than being sawed off with a wood
Oh,
bat.
my Lord.
Right?
It hurts so bad.
It hurts so bad.
And I'm under the same mindset of the sooner that you can implement wood bats into kids being able to hit it, because I think the most purest form of baseball is a wood bat. I think if you can swing a wood bat and you're okay with it, I think that picking up an aluminum or one of these bats should feel like a bonus to you, because you don't have to swing that piece of wood that's going to hurt your hands if you get it too far inside.
The sweet spot in the wood bat is smaller.
Yeah.
The aluminum bat is more forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
But here's another thing, too. I got another question that kind of sidetracked her a little bit.
Yeah.
How many parents do you think buy that $350 bat to fix their kid's $2 swing?
Too many.
Too many, right?
Too many.
I agree. I think it's
Too many.
All these parents think that is the automatic fix. Well, I'll buy him a $350 bat. He's going to be a better hitter.
Yep. And me being retired from baseball, that's how I feel about golf too. Go buy a new driver, it's gonna fix your slice. No, you should have just bought the cheap one, went and got less.
Bought the cheap one from Kmart.
Go
I just use a Kmart reference, and probably a lot of people in the audience don't even know what that is. Matter of fact, it's funny. I heard driving in today to the office that there's a Kmart that's closing in New Jersey this week.
Yeah.
That means there's only 3 Kmart stores
somewhere
in the country. I don't know where they're at,
United States,
but they're out there.
Lord have mercy.
So, but yeah, I see that a lot where these parents think that that's going to fix their kids.
Go get some lessons. Go, have someone look at it that knows what they're doing.
Well, at the end of the day, when all these kids are swinging this bat, they're trying to do one thing. The parents have one thing. The coaches have one thing that they're trying to do.
Yep.
And that's to win a tournament.
Win a tournament.
Win a tournament and win the prize.
Win it.
Win a prize.
Yep.
We're getting into a world now that prizes matter.
Yes, they do.
And we're going to talk about that in one of our later topics. But right now, it has went in stages, kind of like the baseball bat. The award preferences.
Yeah.
It has evolved over the years.
Yep.
And, it's right now the big thing is rings.
Yes.
And it's been the big thing for a few years now.
Yep.
But originally it came out to where you won rings at your big events, your end of the year World Series, your national championships. And it has trickled down into every weekend tournaments now. Everybody gives out a ring.
Exactly.
So the ring is to my opinion, the ring has kind of lost a little bit of its luster. And I'll take it even a step further. Not only are they giving rings away for the everyday weekend tournament, but they're also giving you some sort of a ring if you win the silver or the bronze edition in that same tournament. Yeah. Which we talked about that in the last show about the thought process on that. But the awards have developed over time, right?
Yes.
Trophies, and I'm not being in chronological order here. Trophies, medals, plaques, rings.
Yep.
Anything I'm missing?
The little glass pieces.
Oh yeah, the crystal crystal pieces.
Yes, crystal pieces.
I kind of fall that in with trophies though.
Yeah.
I think medals, plaques.
I'm going through my childhood mantle right now. See if I know anything different.
Okay, that brings up a great point. So you're going through your childhood mantle to see what you won during your course of time. And I'm doing the same thing with my son. I'm going back to look at him like, man, what did he win? Yeah. Ribbons. There you go. Ribbons. So, old school.
I got ribbons were for when I swam on the swim team. I got ribbons. But for baseball wise, it was trophies, pretty much trophies and medals until I got to Cooperstown. In Cooperstown, revolutionized your awards, and it was rings. It was like
but everybody got one.
I know.
Everybody got one.
Everybody got one.
It wasn't just winning.
No.
Actually, when you win in Cooperstown, what do you get?
What? I don't know. I didn't win in Cooperstown.
Well, I've been fortunate enough to coach a team that's won it twice in Cooperstown.
Yeah.
You know what we got?
What?
Nothing.
Really?
Nothing.
Same thing as every. See, I think
Same
that,
thing as everybody
I
else.
think that devalues what you're bringing to the table.
Well, hang on. Let me
Yes. Yeah.
correct that. We got a team trophy for
Okay.
winning.
Okay.
You know what the runner-up team got?
What?
Nothing. If I remember correctly, I don't even think they got a trophy.
Well.
But everybody got rings.
Yeah. And that was the big thing, me growing up is you always play for the ring. And I think a lot of it is emulated off of what you see the pros get, right? Did you see the Atlanta Braves new
Those
ring
were
that came out?
ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. It was gaudy, but it was the coolest.
Brandon, did you see those rings?
It was- It was the
pops
coolest thing I've ever
Cool.
seen in a ring.
Cool and
To
ridiculous at
pop
the
it
same
open
time.
and have more bling in it, you're kidding me.
But then again, you win the World Series, and you kind of expect ridiculous.
It's true. I mean, it's the same as the NFL and the NBA. You get ridiculous when you win.
Well, on a side note with that, what's even more ridiculous was, did you hear about the hamburger that they sold opening day at the Brave Stadium?
No.
It was $151
Oh, for their anniversary.
for the
Their 151 years of
Yeah.
being the Atlanta Braves.
$151 hamburger. Who's going to eat that?
Better have diamonds in it.
Did it come with like a replica ring or something?
I think it did. I think it might have come with a replica ring.
I remember seeing that they were giving away replica rings.
Yeah.
I couldn't recall if I didn't see anything.
Well, if I want a $151 cheeseburger, then that ring better open.
Yeah.
It better open.
We're getting a little off target here. We're getting a little off track. Let's get back to the awards. So go back to your childhood. Your
Yeah.
mantle.
So it was.
I got a question.
Huh.
Is that still up?
No. Oh, it got taken down.
Oh, okay.
I move out next week at my parents' house, and that came down. It was
All right. So what was on there? What's your most prized award that you got?
most prized one was, oh gosh. Honestly, it was probably the Cooperstown one. In all honesty, there was that
The ring
the ring
that everybody else got.
that everybody else got because
That's what you-
it wasn't for me. Us going in, we knew we probably weren't going to win, right? But it was the experience of going down
Sure.
there and doing it. That the ring itself is okay, but what it meant, what it signified, is what I like most about it.
What was some of the coolest things that you got?
Coolest things, back when I was playing, it was all a lot of trophies. They're the big, huge, tall trophies that the team got. But I mean, it was all pretty standard, no matter what tournament you went to. In all honesty, it was all the this tall of the trophy, and you had the guy swinging on the top of it. It was all pretty
you'd
standard.
get the 18-inch trophy for winning. If you were runner-up, you got a 12-inch.
Exactly. Yeah, it was.
That's pretty much that's
yeah,
what it was
that
for years.
That was a lot of my mantle, and I tell you what, another one of the coolest things that we did and that the Youth Baseball Nationals does is pin trading. I find that so cool to be able to go to each individual team and go trade pins.
Yeah, that was cool at Cooperstown.
Yeah.
My son really enjoyed that. You
I
know,
look at that as more of a trophy than I do the ring.
well, here's something that I found interesting. We tried it. TBS National has been going on for 11 years.
Mhm.
And we tried the pen trading the first couple of years, and it was a huge failure.
Mhm.
Because what I found is the teams that play at that level,
They don't look at that.
they don't care about that.
Mhm.
They don't want to fool with it. They don't want the distraction.
Mhm.
They want to come. They want to play baseball, and
Yep.
that's all they want to do.
And with the
And the pins are expensive. Let's face it. I mean, they're
Oh, they are.
When you're
And with-
buying that many, it's expensive.
And you see, it's funny because the Youth World Series, I have a lot of people email me and message me saying, "Hey, is there pin trading here?" And I tell them, "No, we don't advertise it, but if you want to bring some, I know other teams will." So I think it's one of the things that we're going to try to implement next year. But you can tell the difference in TBS. It's all about baseball. It's all about that weekend playing the best baseball possible. Whereas at the Youth World Series, it's more of an experience.
My experience.
It's more of a get
And the
out
pin
there.
trading part. That's Cooperstown
Exactly.
too.
Yeah,
They do that experience. So
exactly.
the Youth Nationals kind of has that same mentality.
Yeah,
and the same-
I think it's a little bit better of a mix as far as allowing D1 teams in, but Youth World Series and Cooperstown are experience based. I think.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I know I had this conversation because I knew this topic was going to come up on our show, and I had this conversation with my son and
Mhm.
asked him about, the awards that he's taken over time. And he's married now and lives on his own.
Mhm.
And I asked him when he moved out, I said, do you want any of these
mhm.
awards or trophies or anything? He said, I want 2. That's it.
Yeah. Which 2 were they?
He won a home run derby when he was 10,
Okay.
and he wanted that one.
Uh-huh.
And then USSSA gave out some acrylic, like you talked about, the clear,
Yeah.
it looks like crystal.
Yeah.
They were state champions when they were 13,
Mm-hmm.
and they had won. That was like the 4th time in a row. That was the
Yeah.
4P
Yeah.
state champion. He wanted that one.
That's awesome.
And the rest of them, he's like, I couldn't even tell you where they came from.
And that's the same with me. The only one that I have kept and is going to the new house is the penetrating towel. It's the only one that's.
Oh,
going
he
with
has
me.
that.
Yep, that's the only one that's going with me.
Yeah,
Is the
he
penetrating
has
towel.
that.
Yeah.
He actually got to go to Cooperstown twice. He went as a 10-year-old and then went as a 12-year-old. So he actually has 2 sets.
Yeah.
They don't do 10-year-olds no more.
No.
But he did keep that.
Yep.
So, no matter what award you get, whether
Mhm.
it's a trophy, a ring, or whatever, it's going to sit on some shelf. It's going
It
to
is.
collect dust.
Yep.
And chances are, when your child turns 18, 19, 20, 22, whatever it is, and goes out, they get thrown away.
Yeah, they get thrown away. They get put in a box, and they really get thrown away by putting them in the basement and
Yeah.
never to be seen again. And
Trophies, if you put them in a box, chances are the little guy that's on top, the bat's going to get broken off.
Yep.
The head's going to get broken off.
And I think that's an age old thing, is that no matter how old you are, whatever the case may be, growing up, hitting that age where you move out, I think whether you're 45 right now or you're my age and 23, all that stuff eventually goes away. It eventually goes in the trash.
You
So-
want to know an award that I gave out? This was years ago that I gave out that was really, really popular with the parents. We gave out championship T-shirts.
That is a very popular one, yeah.
We gave out
I
championship
think
T-shirts.
that's awesome.
And we gave those out.
Mhm.
The kids liked them. They got to wear them to school.
Yep.
They wore them around, the playground,
Yeah.
summertime, and
then
the
by
parents
then-
liked it because it didn't clutter up the shelves. It
Yep.
was something the kid could actually use.
Yep. Exactly.
And they washed it for a whole summer, and then they got rid of it.
Yep,
I mean, it was no
exactly.
big-
When you went back next year, try to win another.
Tried to win another one, right? And
Mhm.
the T-shirt was a popular one.
Mm-hmm.
But talking to these parents and asking them, and I kind of do this every year at the TBS Nationals. I kind of talk to parents a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
kind of get their input on things. I'm like, how do you feel about trophies and medals and ribbons? And they lean towards the ring. The ring was first.
Yes, 100%.
But what I found interesting, what was second, was a medal,
Interesting.
because it was smaller. It didn't take up as much room.
They could wear it.
It wasn't even about them wearing it. I don't
Well,
even,
they could
they
wear
didn't
it.
wear the ring.
They could wear it there. They could wear it in the car at home, whatever the case may be. But you put it around.
It
something.
displayed easier, for
Yep.
what the parents were telling me. It displayed easier.
Yep.
And then when you packed it and put it away, it took
easy.
up very little room.
It's easy. Yeah.
And like they talked about, we pack up a trophy, it breaks.
Yep.
And then we have to throw it away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we put it in our son's room, and all it does is collect dust, and I got to dust the darn thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you'd be surprised how many people
Mm-hmm.
choose their tournament based on the award they're going to get.
Yeah, that is a big thing. It was 2 weekends ago at a Versus tournament that we were sitting near the fan shop, and a bunch of kids came in and said, "What are we winning?" We told them everything, and like, okay, and then just walked out. I think a lot of these kids that are there, they want to know and they want to see if it fits what they like. Because if they don't like it, they're gonna say, "Oh, we're playing X and X again."
Yeah, but at that point, they're already at the tournament.
True, they're already there. 100%. But
I'm talking about these people want to know before they go to a tournament what your awards are going to be.
Mhm.
And if you don't have the right awards, they're not going to come to the tournament.
No.
Or what they perceive as the right awards. They're not going to come to the tournament.
Yeah.
And I ran tournaments in Atlanta, and if you didn't have rings, they weren't coming.
Yeah.
They're going to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a factor, and this leads us into our next topic here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you look for when you're entering a tournament?
Mm-hmm.
Well, right off the bat, we just talked about it.
Awards. Yep.
They want to know what they're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have I get this question a lot. Do you have a silver bracket? Can we win an award down there?
Yep.
And you know how I feel about that.
Yep.
Why are we giving the 9th place team
An award.
an award, but not the 8th place team?
Yeah.
And so I'm really against that.
Mm-hmm.
But these people want to know what they're going to win.
Exactly.
ribbons, trophies,
Whatever the case.
acrylics,
Yep. They
whatever
better
case they
like
want
it
to
or
know.
they're
And they
not.
better like it.
They're not.
Because if
coming.
they don't like it, they ain't coming back.
Yep. 100%.
So that's one of the big
One of the
questions.
things. Yeah.
But what's some of the other things that you look for when you enter a tournament?
I think it's obvious off the top, I think the top 2 or 3. Number 1 is where it is, right?
Location.
Location. Number
Now, okay, let me stop you right there.
Uh-huh.
So are you talking about location on a week-to-week basis, or are you talking about an end-of-the-season destination?
So I think there's 2 different mindsets when it comes to that, right? So I think your weekend to weekend, I think you should find the location that best fits not only yourself, but that is when in doubt, you're always going to play, right? So for instance, E-Town, we can no matter what, unless it's lightning outside, we can play on those fields.
Oh, because of the turf.
Because of the turf,
Right.
right? Other places around Louisville and around the area that are dirt, it's not a guarantee that you get to play. So I think that when you find a place that is pretty much located around you. When I mean locate, I mean 45 minutes to drive there and to drive back. If it's that, and if it's turf, and you can play on it on any given weekend, I think that's a big.
I think that's probably a big one.
Yeah.
Is the ability to play.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So they know going in that if they're going to a turf location, chances are they're going to play.
Yes.
So they're probably going to lean more towards the turf.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, and I
Mhm.
ran into this when I was in Atlanta,
Mhm.
turf usually
Hot.
equals not only hot, but a higher entry fee.
True.
Right?
Yes.
Because it costs a lot of money to put that turf in.
Mhm.
Turf's not cheap.
Yep.
So now as a team, you got to decide, do I go pay $500 to
Mhm.
enter a turf tournament,
Mhm.
knowing I'm probably going to play,
Mhm.
or do I roll the dice and enter a dirt tournament that maybe only costs me $250?
And that's something that you got to weigh with obviously your team and what you're looking to do. But for our tournament this upcoming weekend, right? A lot of these teams, it's a 1-day tournament. They get one shot at coming out to play. A lot of them said we'd rather play on turf and know that at least we're going to get to play, than go on dirt and test it.
Well, there's
Because
value
who
in
knows?
that,
There's
right?
a bunch
Especially
of
this
value.
time of year.
Exactly.
Maybe not so much in
the middle of summer.
May and June and
Yeah.
July might not be a big factor.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna tell you, in March and April, it's a factor.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a factor.
100%. So I think that's a big one when it comes to location. Second one obviously is price. You
Look at the price.
you've got to know what kind of team you are, whether you can go and every weekend spend, anywhere from $250 to $450, or okay, let's go and spend $700-800 a weekend. You have to know where your team sits, because ultimately that decides your end of the year tournament. If you spend all your money too early, well, then you got to ask parents to pay more on the back end, and usually parents don't want to do that. So knowing how much you can spend per tournament on the front end, and then being able to set yourself up to say, hey, we want to go to, we want to do TBS, we want to do the Nationals, we want to do World Series. Well, that's going to be a little bit bigger of a premium.
The thing that I found with playing in those types of tournaments, when you talk about price,
Mm-hmm.
it goes back to something we've talked in previous shows,
Mhm.
is game reps.
Nothing beats game reps.
So you enter a tournament, there's a 3-game guarantee.
Mhm.
If you have a chance to enter a 4-game or a 5-game guarantee, naturally you want to, that's worth your money.
Exactly.
But I hear teams all the time complain that a team entered a tournament they had no business in.
Yeah.
Because they were too good for that tournament.
Yep. Or vice versa, they weren't good enough for the level.
Yeah, but if you're not good enough, you're still stuck at that 3 games.
True. Very true.
So if you let's just say you take a mid-level major team,
Mhm.
and he's got a choice of 2 tournaments. They're both the same price.
Mhm.
They're both $500. They're both on turf.
Mhm.
What do you think determines where he's going to go?
The other teams entered.
Okay, that's a good point. You got other teams that are entered. The level of competition, right?
Yep, exactly.
But if you're truly looking to get your team game reps,
Mhm.
if you enter this high-end major tournament,
Mhm.
chances are better than 50-50 you're only going to play 3 games.
Yep.
But if you enter this tournament over here,
Mhm.
you might get to play 5 games.
Yeah.
That's more.
Mhm.
So some teams steer that way.
They do.
It's not so much, and I hear this term all the time, that they're trophy hunting, right? They're chasing trophies.
Yeah.
That's not always the case.
And see, I agree with you, except when the tournament tries to keep those teams out. if that makes sense. So
No, it does.
So when Youth World Series, for example, there's always a team or two that tries to get in that is a major D1 team, and Youth World Series is D2, D3.
But chances are they're probably a low-level major team.
But nevertheless,
They're still major.
They're still major.
I
They
get it.
still qualified for that ranking. And to have that mindset of we want to get more game reps in because we know we can beat these teams, well, some tournaments aren't designed for that, right? So I think when you go and do that, I think one of the biggest things too, you got to read the rules. You got to read what the tournament's about, right? If the tournament says it's D2, D3 only, and you know you are a major team, you have no business trying to.
That's different.
It is.
That's different. Your point is well taken, but that's totally. I'm talking about just a basic open tournament on the weekend. You know,
Mhm. Basic-
me as a coach, I would look at that and say, all right, do I want to challenge my boys and go mix it up with these guys, or do I want to take a week
Oh, yes.
off, and in this tournament here, I'm going to pitch my 1, 2, and 3 are never touching the mound.
Yeah.
I'm going to go play in this tournament. I'm going to pitch my 8, 9, and 10 guys to get them reps. Now, you do that, you still might win the tournament.
Yeah.
And some people look at that team and go, well, they're trophy chasing. Well, no, that's not the case.
Well, in that case, it's an open style tournament, right? That team that was coming in knew that they had a game plan that they weren't going to throw their top guys. And even if they do throw their top guys, I think in open tournament cases, I think pool play decides a large amount of who plays.
Oh, sure.
And I think
The format.
I think the format very early
Which
on.
brings us to another
Yeah. I think very
thing
early
to choose
on.
your tournament is what's the format?
So very early on in pool play, that top, that major team, they're going to be the 1 seed. You already know that they're, they could get beat, but more likely than not, they're going to be the 1 seed in that bracket, right? So then you go down the bracket and immediately you play the 8, right? And then you play the 4 or 5 or whatever the case may be. But I think that the bracket itself, how the format is, I think that sways teams in a direction. Either A, they played in that event in the past, or they've that format in the past and they really like it, so they look for that format, or vice versa. They played in it, they didn't like it, it didn't suit their team well, they're not going to play in it again.
I tell you a popular format that I've used, even on it's hard to do on weekend tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Like the TBS Nationals is double elimination, but we're playing 6 days.
Yeah.
It's easier to do that.
Exactly.
2 times in Atlanta, I tried the double elimination format right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But if you think about that, what is that? It's a 2-game guarantee.
Yeah, 2-game guarantee.
And I held it twice in Atlanta, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We started on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had to play 1 game Friday night.
Okay.
And which in Atlanta is a tough thing because of the traffic. But
Yeah.
you play on Friday night,
Mm-hmm.
and then you move on to Saturday. So if you played Friday and lost,
Yeah,
and came back Saturday at like 10 a.m. and lost again,
you were done.
you were done.
Yeah.
At noon on Saturday, you were done for the weekend.
Yeah.
But the teams that went on and got to play in the double elimination format,
Mm-hmm.
they really liked it.
Yeah.
Up until the championship game.
Yeah.
When they got to the championship game, I had teams look at me and go, we've had enough baseball for the weekend.
Yeah. It is a lot of baseball that you play with that format if you keep winning.
So every team liked that because it made the games matter
Mm-hmm. Every
right
single
from
game
the jump.
mattered. Yeah.
Every game was an elimination game.
Mm-hmm.
The teams loved it. Now, they didn't want to play it every week,
Yeah.
but playing it once in a while,
I think once in a while, and you get some very good like-minded competition in there, I think that breeds some of the best
Now-
youth baseball.
here's the negatives to that.
Mm-hmm.
Some teams were like, we're not willing to take that risk
Yeah.
to play 2 games and be done.
Mm-hmm.
If we get to play 3, well, it's no different than a 3-game guarantee. We're
Exactly.
right back in the same boat.
Exactly.
But you had some teams out there that were like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do this and stuff. If I had 20 teams in a double elimination tournament, 16 of them loved it.
Mm-hmm.
4 of them hated it. That was
Yep.
the 4 teams that went 0-2 and were out. They hated it.
Yep.
But everybody else loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So format is definitely a
Yes.
thing to look for. We
Uh-huh.
talked about price.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about location. What else? What
Teams
else? Is
entered was a
Teams
was one.
entered, right?
There was obviously the rules. Is a big one to kind of take a look
Sure.
at.
Rules is a big one. I can tell you, as a coach, I very rarely paid attention to rules
Yeah, until they mattered.
until they mattered.
Yeah.
And then it was on me.
Yeah.
I actually got eliminated out of a tournament over what I thought was a dumb rule. rule.
Wow.
It goes down to the tiebreakers, right?
Yeah.
Tiebreakers.
Yep.
Runs allowed, runs scored, run differential, all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we entered a tournament that where runs scored was the first tiebreaker.
Interesting.
Yeah. That was the rules. It was in the rules. I
Okay.
didn't read the rules
Okay.
because I never thought that would be a rule.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why wouldn't runs allowed be your first tiebreaker?
Runs
Well, it
allowed
wasn't.
is typically.
For this one, it was run scored.
Interesting.
So I got eliminated out of a tournament
Because of it.
15 years ago because of it. I didn't
Yeah.
read the rules.
I think
So you need to read the rules.
Yep, understanding the rules, understanding what you can and cannot do. One of the biggest things that we always get asked is, what bats can each age group use?
Yeah.
That's a big one. Kids, 13.
How many
kids.
times have you had a coach when you get into a situation and a situation comes up and the coach says, "Well, I didn't know that."
Well,
It happens a lot, right?
it happens a lot, and then
I
9
didn't know
times
that.
out of 10, it's in the rules. One of the biggest ones that we get is 13U kids swing and drop 10 bats.
Yeah, that's a
No,
no-no.
we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We don't play that. It's going to get someone hurt. It's not necessarily good for a 13U kid who next year he's going to go play high school baseball to swing a drop 10 bat because, well, he can hit it really far. With
Some coaches don't get that.
it. And see, that's one of the big ones in our rules that we
I
make
can
one
tell
for
you the tournament where we got eliminated because of that.
Mm.
That was probably let's see, my son's 28.
Mhm.
I was longer than that. It was probably 17 years
a
ago.
while ago.
So he was probably 10 or 11 when this happened.
Mhm.
Got eliminated.
Yeah.
I can tell you from that day forward,
Mhm.
I assigned one of my assistant coaches, make sure you read the rules.
Yeah.
Before we go to any game.
Yep.
Before we went into the tournament.
Yep.
And it actually came in handy, not very often, but it
Mhm.
came in handy as we got older. Coach would go up to me and go, hey, in the rules it says this.
Mhm.
And I'm like, really? I didn't know. I didn't
Yeah.
know. I always
Of
assigned one of
course.
my assistants to it.
Yeah.
And I would bring it up to the tournament. Hey, they can't do that. It's in the rules. So,
There you go.
yeah. Well, we've covered a lot of great stuff tonight, man. Hopefully this is informational to everybody out there.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to get into now our last topic, which I'm sure is what a lot of people have tuned in for tonight. And that's our top 10 plays for the month of March. So we're going to get to those right now. Starting off, we have a tie at number 10. Catcher Shay Fisher stretches out for a wide one, but comes up and throws a perfect strike to the shortstop to record the out. Look how happy she is. Also, at number 10, this is an almost identical play. The catcher is Quinn Krzymski, and I apologize if I got the name wrong. She also fields a wide pitch and fires an absolute laser to cut down the would-be base stealer. The joyous reaction is almost identical to Shay's. And at number 9, this is center fielder Astrid Reyes from RGV Select. She tracks down this bullet in the right center field gap and unleashes her hand cannon to double up the runner at first base. Take a look at this throw. Got her. Number 8, there's no better feeling than a walk-off home run. And this one's coming from Ryder Forrester with Canes, Tennessee. His 2-run home run walks it off against BPA for the championship. Watch the catcher walk away as he knew it immediately. Number 7 comes to us via the West Monroe Lady Sox 8U. This is Kensley Winstead fielding the hot smash to third, stepping on third for 1 out and firing across the diamond for the double play. Number 6 is another double play. This one from 10-year-old Scarlett Morales from the Stick Storm. She grabs the line drive and takes her time to make a good throw to double up the runner at first base. Number 5, this is 2028 grad Nadine Marino pouncing on a bunted ball in front of the plate. The only place she has is to dive and try for the runner at the plate, which she does. That's what you call laying out for a play. Number 4, speaking of laying out, watch this play by 12-year-old Danielle Jones as she goes back and lays out to make this play for her team, Cy-Fair Intruders. Fernando Tatis would be proud. Number 3, base hit up the middle, looks like we'll score 2, but center fielder Reese Robinson of the Las Vegas Rebels 12U says not so fast as he guns down the second runner at the plate. Catcher Cage Gandy with the awesome swipe tag to complete the out. Great play by both kids. Number 2, watch the unbelievable play by the second baseman Abigail Davis as she leaves her feet to grab this ground ball and makes the throw from her stomach to get the runner by a step. And our top play for the month of March comes courtesy of the 10-yard Backyard Ballers Black and left fielder Reese Riley as he impersonates Superman with his diving catch down the left field line. What an effort by young Reese. So there you have it. There's our top 10 plays for the month of March. Aaron, what do you think about those plays?
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely loved seeing both softball and baseball in there. It's a good mix. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it's I feel good when the boys and the girls both submit videos like that. So yeah, hats off to all those guys and congratulations. Again, let me remind you that we are taking submissions for the top 10 plays for the month of April. You'll have until the end of April to get those into us. You can email them to us at thelineup@athletics.com. But for now, I'm Rick Goff, joined by my co-host Aaron Smith and the best producer in the game, Brandon Whitley. Thank you for tuning in tonight on The Lineup. Thank you, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.